Sure.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's board meeting. The date is August 1st, 2017. Time is 5:30 p.m. We will commence our meeting. And before we do so, please, a friendly reminder to silence your cell phone to avoid any interruptions. Yeah, all right. As always, we begin our agenda with an invocation. Today, we will be led in our invocation by Pastor Terry Howell from the Living Water Fellowship Church. We will follow that with a Pledge of Allegiance. Ryan Adams, he's our coordinator of athletics. Our mission statement by Ray Hollenbeck, Director of School Nutrition Services. Translation Services, Belinda Reyes, she's the Executive Director for Multicultural Department. We'll have comments from the boards, and we'll get right into business right after that. Everyone, if you will please stand up. Pastor Howell, please join us at the podium.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that we have to come and conduct the business for the Osceola County School District. Lord, I thank you for each of the school district members that are here today, serve on this board, that give their time to provide a better place for our children. We thank you for that. We thank you for each citizen, each parent that is here today that are concerned about the things that go on. And I pray, Lord, that we would have your direction, Lord, in everything that we would do, everything that we would say, so that we could provide a better place, a safer place, and a better learning experience for each of our children. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May be seated. Good evening.
Good evening. The mission statement for the Osceola School District: inspiring all learners to reach their highest potential as responsible, productive citizens.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Belinda Davis, and I will be glad to provide translation services.
Thank you. And board members, this is your moment. We'll begin from my left, because it's faster. Skip.
That's your right.
Skip.
Your right, by the way.
My right. Their left. Right. Okay.
Good. I just wanted to say next time we get together, school will be back in full swing, so welcome back. I know I've got two middle school girls who are very, very excited to get back, especially when Dad makes them go help him do stuff during the day. So look forward to a great school year.
I've got a couple things. First off, I want to commend our own Dr. Pace here. I brought it to her attention that our employee clinic did not have the appropriate high school athletic physical forms for our students. She got that corrected right away, and I appreciate how quickly you did that, Dr. Pace. I now have to recognize, I first have to admit I was remiss in the last board meeting when I recognized schools for their performance this past year. Mr. Studley, who's the principal at Zenith School, to his credit, found me and emailed me to let me know that I did miss Zenith. Zenith, which I've got to admit I was unaware of, does not get a letter grade. And in their 10-year history, the school had never received a grade higher than unacceptable from the school district. This past year was simply be rated acceptable, but they got from the Department of Education a commendable rating. So, Mr. Studley, to your staff and all the students at Zenith, we appreciate everything that you did. We're very happy you got commendable. Do it again. If there's highly commendable, get that. But I wanted to recognize them for doing that. So, Mr. Studley, thank you for pointing that out to me. Mr. Chairman, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. All right. Superintendent Pace.
Just as Mr. Booth said, we do start school on August the 10th, so we want to remind our parents, our community members, to be a little bit more mindful as Students and buses will be rolling again. We are also very excited to welcome back our teaching staff. They've been working throughout the summer, lots of professional development and extended learning that's happened. Last week, we had a very successful new teacher orientation. Our PD staff really did a fantastic job with that, as well as our assistant superintendents. On Friday, we had our administrator welcome back, and we there recognized our A schools and our commendable schools, as well as our schools that had the highest demonstrated learning gains. It was really exciting, and I think people are charged up and ready to begin a great new year. So thank you.
Excellent. All right, so next up, we have our presentations. We have one for tonight. Is the Florida Healthy School District Gold Level Award. Ms. Hollenbeck. Good evening again.
Thank you. Yes, we're very proud to this year be awarded the Gold Level Award for being a healthy school district. Before the ladies come up here to do the presentation, I just wanted, this is the first time I've ever done this, had somebody else in the district doing it. Let me tell you, this was a lot of work, and every single department stepped up to the plate. Curriculum, athletics, the nurses, the social workers, everybody came together to give me the information that was needed to win this award. So this is truly a group win, and I just wanted to personally say thank you to every single staff member that helped put this together. I couldn't have done it alone. It was a lot of work just compiling everything that they had given to me. So I wanted to say thank you to everybody that helped. There were so many people, I couldn't name them all, but thank you to every single department and staff member that helped put this together. Tonight, there's two ladies to present the award to us. Melanie Griffin is representing the Safe and Healthy Schools, and Lori Nelson is here from the Florida Dairy Council to present the award to us. So, ladies.
Welcome and good evening.
Thank you. We're so happy to be here. Lori, now Johnson, recently married, so, and I are both members of Florida Action for Healthy Kids and Florida Coordinated School Health Partnership. And what Ms. Hollenbeck was talking about within your district, where you have all these departments coming together. You have the school nurses talking to the school counselors, talking to food service, talking to curriculum, talking to administration. It sounds so simple, but it's so groundbreaking, and that's why you have been given the award of a gold level healthy school district for multiple years now. The Coordinated School Health Partnership is a grassroots partnership, and we bring together organizations, the medical community, we bring together nonprofits, we bring together school nurses, health educators, the list goes on to help your district and the other districts in our state create healthy school districts. And you're one of very few that have received the Gold Award, and even fewer that have received it numerous years in a row. And I just have to say, I love doing this presentation because I am an Osceola parent of a hawktastic hickory tree, almost fourth grader and first grader. Dr. V, I got in hawktastic, so you're welcome. And
That was good. That was good.
yes, and it made me so happy to see that this school district was in the forefront addressing recess, that you're always ahead of the game when it comes to the health and wellness of our kids, because we know a healthy child is one that can do their best in the classroom. So I just want to give a couple shout outs to the areas in your district that did stand out. So the different district infrastructure where everyone's coming together and actually talking. You received an outstanding score. Services, your school nurses, they really did a good job. Nutrition services and education, led by Ms. Hollenbeck, they did a great job. Your healthy school environment, which is reflects the physical plant as well as the social climate of the district, including safety, personal interaction, and violence prevention. And our self-assessment received 100%. So they got all the credit that they could possibly give or get. And employee wellness scored very high as well. So Lori and I would like to applaud your district for establishing a culture and climate in which students and staff can reach their personal potential, and you're continuing to serve as a leader in the state in reducing and eliminating the barriers to learning, resulting in increased academic achievement. And with that, we would once again like to present you with a gold level flag that we would love to get a picture with because you worked hard for this, and we're very happy to present it to you.
Mr. Chairman. Yes, we'll all go. Thanks, Tim.
Ray, we owe you tremendous thanks.
Oh, my gosh, that's
Where's our beef done?
They're not on this, so we left them.
Well, I'm glad you're hawk-tastic. I've got my storm-tastic shirt on.
All right.
Congratulations on getting married. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Congratulations.
Good job. Thank you so much.
Even if I'm not sitting, it's not just me.
All right. Very, very.
Hickory Tree again is in what district?
Hickory Tree is in District 5.
Okay,
Six.
just wanted to mention.
I think I know.
storm
I think I do know where every school and what district they are. I think I do. Let's see. No appointments or transfers this time.
No, sir.
All right. This time, we're going to open the floor for public comments. Our procedure is, of course, that if you want to put a comment on the record from the board, that you fill out one of these forms, and you will be given 3 minutes to speak. We do ask that as you approach the podium, you just state your name, read it into the microphone, and your address. So the first one I have is D. Stevens. Good afternoon, D.
Yeah.
That's okay.
D. Stevens, 218 Seawood Circle, City, Florida. I've been on the school board as a former school board member. I was just seeing the healthy kids. I started that, went to so many meetings. The good governor, the late Governor Childs, was a very humanitarian person and worked on that so much. That's why you have that today in the public schools. But that's not what I came down to speak about. Came down to speak about request your current attorney, Mr. Frank Kruppenbacher. How do you do, sir? Good evening. The late Usher Brown, Larry Brown, was here from 1992 to his passing in 2016. Now, Mr. Brown, for the onset of his tenure, for 24 years I was blackballed and blackmailed. He has an estate here in Orlando, and I need some help. He came into the district from the firm Kilgore, Perlman, Stamp. Kilgore, Perlman, and Stamp. He had 2 legal malpractices, which he never disclosed. I have the paperwork on that. I didn't bring it down tonight. And I need help, and I need to go to the original firm he came in with, because I don't want to go into the details. But how can I speak to you about this, because we only have 3 minutes here, and this is not the place to discuss this fully.
I would assume the board clerk has your home number.
Yeah.
And will give you a call.
All right, okay. And, yeah, because I have to follow up, and he was with many firms, and then the firm that, but it needs to be followed through for my suffering. Yeah, and in order for Mr. Wheeler to have the seat all these years, I didn't have to be without income. I'm not here to go into all the politics that goes on here in this county. Another issue about the celebration, there was a book. I'm not going to talk about the name of the book tonight. And the author of the book, he's an NYU professor. There's a lot of trouble from him. He lives in New York, and I got a lot of trouble from him. Everything from He occupied Wall Street. He was also has a travel ban on him. He's not allowed to go into the United Emirates, the country of Abu Dhabi, which NYU has a campus. Mr. Wheeler the district has been changed over the years. Mr. Wheeler is known to Mel Pearlman. Now that book, Alex Morton, and that's also somebody from Mr. Wheeler's group, George Jackow. There was one lawyer from Disney, George Jackowitz, not George Jackowitz, Sid Jackowitz. And George Jackowitz may be with George Jackowitz. I'm not going into all these little details. But, yeah, to wage a hate and a crime if somebody did an outstanding job on that school board all those years is wrong. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with Mr. Kruppenbacher further on the situation, and I will be pleased for him to contact me. Thank you, and have a good evening. Thank you.
All right. Good
Okay.
afternoon.
All right.
So, our next request for public comment is from April Jackson. Good afternoon, Ms. Jackson.
Good afternoon. April Jackson, 722 Malbett Street. I got
Thank
it
you
right.
for
Kissimmee, Florida. And I wanted to talk to you the last school board meeting, but there was that sinkhole thing in the middle of Neptune Road, and it took me an hour to get here from downtown Kissimmee. I've never had that experience before, but that was the reason I was late.
Hard to get that thing installed.
You did it on purpose. I know.
You should have seen him and I digging that.
Yeah, well, I found another way around it. But today I wanted to ask for your support in the lawsuit that Broward, Bay, Lee, St. Lucie, and Volusia County are filing against the state concerning 7069. Broward, Bay, Lee, St. Lucie, and Volusia are all on board to file the lawsuit on 7069. Duval, Polk, Orange, Dade, Pinellas, and 4 others are considering the lawsuit. Because this bill that was passed has adverse effect on our district, especially financially. When money from our public schools are being taken and given to for-profit charter schools, we have a problem with that. Now, not all charter schools are evil. I know you're surprised to hear me say that. But those charter schools that are there to actually provide alternative education to our children who do not fit in normal schools, we don't have a problem with that. But when someone's making a profit off of our tax dollars, the association has a very big problem with that. Our students are being denied some of the necessities because additional money is being sent to the charter schools. That's one of the issues. I mean, they did that wonderful thing about eliminating the Algebra 2 EOC and said, hey, we're only eliminating one test. Or when they're giving the bonus for highly effective and effective teachers, included 30% of our staff because they're not classroom teachers as defined by the Department of Education. So if you would have the opportunity to look at the lawsuit and consider passing the request to participate in it, I think it would be beneficial to all of the students in the state of Florida. I do hope that FEA, from what I've been told, will be filing their own lawsuit on this issue. But we need to work together to make a stand so that we don't have funds continue to be cut. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
I got one question.
Mr. Wheeler?
April, I do appreciate what you said about charter schools. They're not all evil. I agree with you. And I appreciate also that so why file your own separate lawsuit and why isn't the union party to this lawsuit?
There are different issues that we're filing the lawsuit on.
So it's still money.
It is money, but there are other parts of the lawsuit that directly affect teachers and their working conditions.
Well, relative to the dollars that would be taken away for charter schools from public education, the biggest losers, I would think, would be teachers. So
Correct.
I'm curious why the teachers.
That would be a part of it, but in the lawsuit that's being filed, there are issues that we feel are important that were not included.
But that's not part of 7069. 7069 is very prescriptive, and I appreciate that there are other things the union may want, but this is a lawsuit about one specific piece of legislation. And if you're going to focus on that, in my opinion, to muddy the waters with other issues, it's not.
Everything that we're filing the lawsuit on from FEA deals with 7069.
I understand why there'd be two lawsuits, that's all. That's all my comments.
I mean, they may or may not go with the districts, but at this point in time, our attorneys are reviewing
I
it.
just find it odd, and I'm not going to suggest what we should or shouldn't do, but I find it odd that the union will come here and ask us to be part of something when they say they're opposed, yet they haven't decided if they're going to be part of the same one or if they're going to do something different. It's kind of
Okay, Jay,
like
understand.
Race to the top. We lost 1.2, we lost over $500 million because the union was opposed to the initial language that went in.
Okay, I wasn't here then, so you can't blame my
I'm just saying,
association.
But it is systemic relative to that. Here's another one. That was money that the teachers lost, and here's another one. So I'm just saying, I find it very odd.
The way that
You want us
FEA
to go
works-
fight this battle, but FEA doesn't know if they're
Understood,
gonna
but the
fight
way
it with
FEA
us.
works is we have to take it to our governance board, and our governance board is not meeting until October. So we can't come on board and say we are supporting or not supporting the lawsuit until our governance board has their monthly
Sure, if it was
meeting.
important, if they could hold an emergency meeting.
Not when the cost is as much as it is. When you're bringing in a couple hundred individuals. We have regularly scheduled meetings. Our next meeting is in October.
Well, here's the thing, Jay. There's different, in order to join or file a lawsuit, you have to have what is called standing. And basically, there's, HB 7069 is pretty big. It's not specific as to say, it's only going to affect one entity. So different entities may have different types of causes of actions or different challenges, whether they're substantive or procedural. I think that what Ms. Jackson was saying is for us to consider the ones that are affecting school districts. The ones that are affecting teachers and things that have to do with labor relations, it's not the ones that she's bringing forward. And so that's not going to be the lawsuit that we'll be joining. Well, what she's asking is for us to consider what are the causes of action that these other school districts are raising. You have to make an analysis here. You have to think, first of all, whether or not, this bill was correct, was passed correct, did it pass procedural, proper procedure? Number two, does it infringe on public education? Does it take money away from, does it fund a parallel school? So there's so many things that you have to look at. And once you determine that and if you see that there's a cause of action, then you file a lawsuit. And what these other districts done so far, I haven't read the lawsuit, by the way. I just know what is in the press. So, one of the things that I asked the board attorney to do is to help us with that analysis. See if this is something that, one, needs to be corrected because it hurts public education. We're all here because we support public education. I'm going to make that assumption. And we're going to fight to defend public education, defend its funding. That's part of what I think that we should do. So if this bill goes contrary to that, then it should cause an issue with us. But that's not the only question. The other question is whether or not this lawsuit would be more successful if we join it. Does it really help the cause for us to get involved with it? That's going to be the second question that we need to ask ourselves. And so for that purpose, I think that we're going to go ahead and I asked Mr. Krupenbacher to help us do that analysis, give you an opportunity to voice your concerns, what is it about it that you think that you may support or you don't? That's really what it has to come down to. But I agree with April, Ms. Jackson, that we shouldn't just be silent on it because it is hurting us financially. That speaks for itself. There's a phrase for that. It speaks for itself that it's hurting our mission. It's hurting how we're conducting public education in this county. And for that reason alone, we need to not be silent, at least analyze and look into that. Because if joining this lawsuit is something that's going to help it win, and in helping it win, it's going to help us with our mission, then we should consider that. That's all. I think that's what what Ms. Jackson was getting to, Jay. And no, we're not going to be joining in on the issues that have nothing to do, that does not have to do with our mission of public education. Understand?
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Attorney, I would encourage both of you to do less analysis and more computation. But with that said, I will.
Wise words, Mr.
I
Wheeler.
find it very
Computation. Got
very
it.
odd that we've got a union that's got as much power as they do, asking us to do something that they're not doing themselves. They're considering and they're going to meet in October.
They don't have standing on our issues, Jay.
I disagree. I respectfully disagree.
We'll have the attorney help us with that.
I will be speaking to this.
Yes.
Cover with you. Wait to then.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Weissier, you have your light on.
Yep, I'm going to hold my comments till the end because I was going to ask a question of council.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. Seeing no further requests for public discussion, we'll move ahead with the agenda. And we are, this time, believe that we have
Agenda modifications.
we have public hearing on millage and budget.
Is that before the agenda modifications?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we're going to go ahead and recess this meeting and call to order the public hearing on millage and budget. Good afternoon.
Good evening. This is the first public hearing on the proposed millage rates and the tentative budget for fiscal year 2017-18. The 2017-18 school year marks an exciting time for the Osceola County School District. Our district continues to maintain a strong strategic focus on providing the highest quality educational experience for all students within a framework of fiscal responsibility to the citizens of Osceola County. It is through collaboration among students, parents, staff, school board members, and the community that we will take student achievement to new heights. This is reflected in the strong alignment between our strategic plan and the budget to be presented tonight. I would like to begin by thanking the board for your continued guidance and support. Tonight's public hearing on the tentative budget will include remarks regarding the proposed millage and budget. There will then be an opportunity for public and board member comment. You will adopt the resolution setting the proposed total millage levy to support the 2017-18 tentative budget. You will also adopt resolutions approving the 2017-18 tentative budget. You will approve the 2017-18 policy regarding the expenditure of lottery funds. We'll request authorization for the superintendent and staff to perform necessary actions to comply with all truth and millage requirements. And finally, we'll announce the date of the final public hearing for adoption of the 2017-18 budget. So first of all, let's start with a couple definitions. So TRIM is the Truth in Millage legislation that was enacted in 1980, and the requirements are detailed under Section 200.065 Florida statutes. The statute dictates the form, size, and placement of budget advertisements, as well as the order of business during the budget hearings. TRIM requires 2 public hearings for open discussion of the millage rates and the proposed budgets of all taxing authorities. So what is a mill? A property tax levy of $1 per $1,000 of taxable property value. So 1 mil equals .001, and $100,000 times 1 mil would equal $100 of property tax levy. The Florida Education Finance Program, or FEFP, is the mechanism by which state and local funds are allocated to Florida school districts. The Florida legislature sets the required local effort millage and the prior period funding adjustment millage rates that must be levied by the school board. The school board must levy the required local effort millage rate and prior period funding adjustment millage in order to receive any state funding under the Florida Education Finance Program. The total proposed millage related to school funding for the 2017-18 school year is 6.749 mils. This millage will generate revenue for the general operating and capital outlay funds. As previously mentioned, the millage rates are determined by the Florida legislature, and this is the maximum millage that the school board is allowed to levy without a specific voter-approved referendum. The district must levy the required local effort and any prior period funding adjustment, of which we don't have any this year, to receive approximately $254.6 million in state FEFP funding. In addition, we must levy the full basic discretionary millage to receive $13.9 million in compression funding from the state. The proposed total millage rate related to school funding is 6.749 mils. This represents a decrease of 0.156 mils when compared to the prior year rates. The reduction in the ROE from 4.643 to 4.501 mils equates to a loss in funding of $3.4 million when applied to the current tax roll. As required by TRIM, we must compare the proposed millage rate to the rollback rate. The rollback rate is the millage rate that would generate the same amount of revenue as last year if applied to the current year adjusted taxable value. Under TRIM, the rollback rate is the basis for determining if to have increased or decreased. This slide compares the proposed millage rates to the rollback rates. The current state law rollback rate is 4.4235 mils. The current proposed state law millage rate for the 2017-18 year is 4.501 mils. Therefore, the proposed rate increased by 1.75% as compared to the rollback rate. The rollback rate for the total millage rate is 6.5588 mils. The proposed total millage rate is 6.749 mils. So the proposed total rate increased by 2.9% as compared to the rollback rate. The Osceola County tax levy will increase by $10.7 million for school-related taxes in the 2017-18 year as compared to the prior year. While the millage rate has decreased, the tax roll is up 9.3% over the prior year. So what does this mean for the individual taxpayer? How are taxes calculated? The taxable value of a homeowner's property equals the assessed value as determined by the Osceola County Property Appraiser's Office, less the $25,000 homestead exemption if applicable. The homestead exemption is an amount established by law for properties used as the owner's primary residence that is exempt from ad valorem taxes. It's typically $25,000. The portion of property tax related to school funding equals the taxable value divided by 1,000 times the school district millage rate. Therefore, in this example, a homeowner with an assessed value of $125,000 with a homestead exemption will pay $674.90 of school-related ad valorem property tax to Osceola County. This slide illustrates the changes in school-related property taxes for an Osceola County homeowner over the last several years. This example incorporates Save Our Homes legislation as provided in Section 193.155 Florida statute, which regulates annual increases in assessment value to the lower of the following: either 3% of the assessed value of the property for the prior year, or the percentage change in the Consumer Price Index. Since the percentage change in the CPI has been less than 3% for the past several years, that is the rate that applies here. Therefore, a home valued at $150,000 in 2013 would have generated roughly $938.63 in school-related property tax. If the owner qualified for Save Our Homes, by the 2017-18 school year, the estimated assessed value of that same home would be approximately $150,787. Based on this valuation, the estimated school-related property tax would be $896.20. This is an increase of $1.73 from the 2016 tax year and a 4-year cumulative decrease of $42.43.
Sarah, do you know how much that $42 is across the county, what the rollback's supposed to be?
I do not off the top of my head. But the $3.2 million that I mentioned before is the effect of the millage rate decreasing, if that's your question. Now let's change focus from taxes to the budget you'll be adopting tonight.
That's the millage decreasing over the last year.
Correct. Correct. The key items in the budget have been previously shared with you. The changes between this budget and the budget presented at the board meeting on July 18th are primarily a result of adjustments in the second FEFP calculation and the certification of the final tax roll. Other minor changes and adjustments to fund balances continue to be made as we're closing out the 2016-17 fiscal year. FEFP and local tax revenues for the 2017-18 budget are $20.5 million greater than the 2016-17 year. Funding per student will increase by $106 or 1.54% over the prior year. This slide shows our long-range forecast for the general fund. At the close of the 2016-17 school year, we are projecting a surplus in the general fund as planned. The proposed budget presented tonight includes another small surplus for 2017-18. Based on state funding projections, we are anticipating a minimal increase in per-student funding again the following year. Careful monitoring of budgetary resources will still be a top priority to ensure sustainability through any future funding shortfalls. As previously shared, the expenditure projections in this plan include the negotiated salary increases for the 2017-18 school year. This is the district's total budget in summary form. The general fund is the main fund from which most operating expenditures are paid. In addition, tonight the board will approve budgets for the debt service fund, which is used to pay for the outstanding bonds of the district, the capital projects fund, which accounts for major construction and renovation projects, the special revenue fund, which consists of food service and federal grants, and the internal service fund, which accounts for the district's health insurance and property casualty insurance programs. The total tentative budget is $1,097,840,605. This slide represents the tentative budget at the level of detail you will be adopting tonight. This is the same level of detail at which you'll approve budget amendments throughout the year. And Mr. Chairman, at this time, if you would like to ask if there are any questions or speakers for public discussion.
We'll take the public discussion from our audience first, from our guests. Is there anyone that wants to address this board? Seeing that there isn't, then, board members, I have a light on by Mr. Thacker.
Yes.
Okay.
I just, I think the $3.2 million is the 1 year impact of the rollback
That's correct.
in millage rate. And if you go back and look at, I'd like you, before the next meeting, because it's not going to impact this, but look at the rollback from 2013 and see what our impact is. And board, we do all these things with the legislature to try and get money for this and money for that. And when the recession hit, I believe Osceola County was one of the hardest hit in property values in the state of Florida. And we had somebody here 2 weeks ago talking about the FEFP funding formula. We've also taken a big hit every year because we're not allowed to reap the benefits of our property value recovery. And it's allowing us to not take care of ourselves and take care of our own district. I brought this up before, but I think it's something we should get our lobbyists to look at. It's money that I believe is due us based on our values, the property that our homeowners have. May not all agree with that one way or the other, but I think it's tying our hands and is crippling us. And had we not had this recession, we'd be receiving this money because rollback wouldn't be here. So I think I think we should take a hard look at that piece too and see if it's worth our lobbyists raising that issue for us at the board's pleasure or not.
Indeed. Any other board members wishes to comment on Mr. Thacker's comment or on our budget and millage presentation discussion?
Just a comment to say that Mr. Thacker's analysis of what's happened over the last number of years with the real estate market and the recovery is 100% accurate. When you look at Save Our Homes, although I'm a proponent of Save Our Homes, when you look at what that cap has provided in going from a median sales price of right around $80,000 in 2007 to a median sales price of $200,000 as we sit today in the county. We've never really been able to recapture that spread that's been realized over the last 10 years, and his point is right on point about that.
All right. Mr. Wheeler?
Clarence, you were spot on relative to real estate values because prior to the recession, all of the real property in Osceola County had an assessed appraised value of $27 billion. It went down to $17 billion, the same real estate. So your economics are right on, and they're, for years, we have always, been frugal. People say prudent. We're not frugal. We don't have any money. We have no choice. We're using our resources the best we can. To our credit, though, First off, Sarah, I appreciate your presentation. Dr. Pace, to your team, we've got a team that can get $1.50 out of $1. So I admire what we do on a day-to-day basis as a district relative to how we use the dollars that we have. So I appreciate your comments, but I just wanted to commend staff for that.
I'd like to say I agree with Mr. Thacker. I know he's right on point. We've talked about this before. I think he's brought this up, maybe not just last year, but even the year before. So certainly, when it comes time to set that legislative agenda and set those priorities, I would certainly be in favor of having further discussion on that and moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Thacker.
Just one more question. It might just be a positive way to try and get money in the district as opposed to lawsuits with our legislatures. Just a thought.
Just one other comment is the $27 billion assessed value wasn't real either. So, I mean, just so that we're being honest and fair, you know, what happened prior to the recession with the real estate market was overinflation of property values. So we want to make sure we're working from a true baseline, and that's not it.
Board, any further discussion on the millage and budget as presented?
Mr. Weishaar, good computation.
Better than analysis.
All right. Computation, analysis, did you get all that?
Got it.
But I think that I'm going to go ahead and close discussion. We're taking a vote on
Yes,
this issue?
I'll just read the resolution.
Very good.
Okay, so tonight we recommend that the board adopt Resolution 18-004, setting the required local effort, discretionary operating, and capital outlay millages for 2017-18 as follows. Required local effort, 4.501 mills. There is no prior period funding adjustment. The discretionary operating millage is set at 0.748 mills, and the capital outlay millage at 1.50 mills, for a total of 6.749. The total millage rate to be levied does exceed the rollback rate by 2.90%. Mr. Chairman, this resolution requires a roll call vote.
Very well. We'll take that vote.
Aye.
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 Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. Resolution 18-005. We recommend that the board approve this resolution adopting the tentative budget in the amount of $1,097,840,605. And Mr. Chairman, this resolution also requires a roll call vote.
Very well. We'll take a vote.
Aye.
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 Thank you. We also recommend that the board approve the policy for the expenditure of lottery funds as listed on this slide, and this requires a regular vote.
Board, any discussion on that recommendation?
I'll make a motion to approve it as submitted.
Okay.
Second.
Here, no discussion. A motion to approve by Mr. Weider, second by Mr. Thacker. Board, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, vote passes 5-0.
And finally, we recommend that the board authorize the superintendent and staff to perform all tasks necessary to ensure compliance with the truth and millage requirements of Chapter 200.065 Florida statutes.
So moved.
Second.
All right, hearing no discussion, a motion by Mr. Booth to approve, second by Mr. Thacker. Board, we vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, vote passes 5-0.
The final public hearing on the 2017-18 budget will be held on Tuesday, September 5th, 2017, at 5:30 p.m. in the School District Administration Center at 817 Bill Beck Boulevard, Kissimmee, Florida. At this time, I would like to thank staff for all of their hard work. This is a major collaborative effort that would not be possible without input from every school and department. This concludes the first public hearing to adopt the 2017-18 proposed millage rates and tentative budget.
Thank you, Ms. Craig.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you all.
Well done, and well done to staff and your team.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right, so we'll adjourn this meeting and reconvene on our public school board meeting. And I'm going to ask the board members if they have any agenda modifications at this time.
Mr. Chairman, I do. Under unfinished business, the Department of Education Castaldi report update. That's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to approve the agenda with the modification.
All right, hearing no other modifications, motion to approve the consent with the modification by Mr. Booth, second by Mr. Wheeler. All those in favor, please state aye.
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 What? Oh.
I apologize, Chairman Soto, I didn't speak soon enough. You did have blue-seated items from facility.
I will withdraw my motion if
I'll
we can
withdraw my
rescind the
second.
previous vote.
Draw my second.
And stricken it from the record.
Let it
So be it.
so shall it is written.
So shall it be done.
You had the calendar for the
Strike it-
redistricting and
strike
the
it
school
from the
facility
record.
use
Is that
agreement.
better?
Right, so where, these blue sheeted items are where in the agenda now? To be part of the consent?
They're on page 45.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
You're replacing page 45.
all right,
It's the school FFF.
okay. No, but what I'm asking is that part of the consent agenda?
The redistricting calendar is, yes.
Okay. All right,
Okay, I will make a new motion.
The second one is the regular agenda.
go ahead and describe what's going on.
To add Mr. Wheeler's amendment to the agenda under unfinished business, as well as the two blue sheeted items submitted by Superintendent Pace.
Item 6 under consent.
Item
and
6 under consent.
Correct. And then we would be amending item F under the regular agenda and facilities.
And amending item F. Somebody second this thing.
Second.
I'm too confused.
So we have a number 6 instead of,
They need to write
and,
Under consent,
right, under concern, and then on facilities, what is currently number 6 is amended with the blue sheet item to include the
okay,
calendar.
it's an amendment to number
Yeah,
6. And
to
tell me,
number
I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm having a hard time. What is
all good.
the facility use? Where is it?
It is under item F on the regular agenda, under facilities, the CROA agreement for facility use.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry,
That's the second blue sheet.
having a hard time. Yeah, I got it. I'm with you.
All right.
I'm with
Apologize for
everybody.
that confusion. From now on, staff will label those items for where they fit in the agenda, so that it's not an issue.
Very well. I think we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Booth and a second by Mr. Wheeler to approve all of these, the consent agenda and the changes that were proposed. All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, passes 5-0. Okay, so we are now to a regular agenda.
Move for approval of items A and B.
Okay, motion to approve A and B by Mr. Thacker, second by
Second.
Mr. Weishire. Board, any discussion on A and B? Any discussion? No? All right. Then we'll vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, vote passes 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve item C, but with obvious discussion.
Second with discussion.
Motion to approve C.
And I also, as part of the motion, would like to call Mr. Ryan Adams forward.
And
Why don't you call mine out?
a second by Mr. Wheeler to approve with discussion. And I think that Mr. Adams was summoned here by
Summoned.
board member,
He was summoned to be stricken.
Summoned.
summoned to the podium. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
All right, so prepare to be questioned.
Nice.
No, I think, and I don't know, I want to talk, I know I had some discussion with Dr. Pace about the name and some issues, and I think we've worked through that. But I think we had a discussion, or I did have a discussion with Dr. Pace about the colors. And so maybe just,
As staff contemplated the situation with the colors, I know that the board had tentatively kind of agreed on navy and white last year. It did come to our attention that Lake Nona High School, which is in very close proximity to Tohopa-Caliga High School, is also navy and white. So we suggested to the board that perhaps we suggest some other colors. Of course, personally, I'm a fan favorite of the orange and navy, but that would just be because of
that.
my
And I
allegiance
like
to some
the orange
other
and-
orange
orange
and
and
navy
black.
Tigers.
I made a.
But seriously, there were some other suggestions, the Carolina blue and silver, the orange and black.
I like the orange and black or the orange and blue.
Well, it's orange and navy Mr. Thacker?
I don't care. I still like
I
it.
know what you're trying to do. I was actually, had talked to Mr. Adams earlier. I was going to suggest crimson and white, Superintendent Pace.
That'd be hard, actually.
And for the principal, I just, my father also was suggesting we put a white stripe on the helmets and we have the numbers on the side.
Always start with an A on it, talk about your father.
What is this one here? This is the
That's the Carolina blue.
Silver
That's
and-
the light blue with silver.
light blue with silver, this one.
I thought that's what Lake Nona was.
No, they're navy.
No,
They're
navy.
straight up navy and white, no silver at all.
No silver. Not that I'm aware of. I mean, they may have.
And the Tigers are just representative of potential ones. This is some work with our varsity bands agreement that the board did approve last time, so we're still working on that. But we wanted to give you some concrete examples to consider for your decision-making purposes.
Okay.
I'll step on a limb. I say I'm good with the, I like the navy and orange.
Navy and orange.
But I can be swayed. I'm just
Okay,
move
guys,
this
that's what I
discussion
like.
along.
Which is the navy and orange.
It's right here.
This tiger here.
Computing, in case you're wondering.
I must, with all full disclaimer, say that is my college alma mater's colors, navy and orange with a tiger.
The War
So
Eagles?
I don't want
See,
to
we have
sway
Auburn
the board in
and-
any way, shape, or
Confused and
form.
all.
I was just
No, I
kind
know
of
that.
teasing.
Nay.
I thought you were a gator.
Ooh.
My
Oh, that's
gator,
right.
my children are gators, but I'm an Auburn
You're a
graduate,
war-
proud
and you're a
Auburn
war- and You're a
graduate.
war eagle, right?
But I certainly, I mean, I guess, not to try to jump on the bandwagon with Mr. Thacker, but
Yes,
I certainly, I'll just say this, because of the Lake Nona, I would reject the navy and white, although I think Mr. Weishaupt brought that out. I thought it was great. I think it looks great on here, but we're very close proximity to Lake Nona. I would also reject the red and white, but anything else, I'm very open.
We were just trying to be mindful of that.
There we go, I'm done.
Hold on to that thought. I'm going to go down the lights here. Mr. Thacker, you have the floor.
My comments were on the name itself. I just want to make a comment, so I'll yield that until we pick the colors.
Okay, then hit your
I
light.
like the orange and blue, and I like the orange and black.
Okay, so we have orange, blue, and black. All right, and you have orange, blue, and black.
These two, the navy and the red, I would scratch, but otherwise I'm good with any of the rest of them.
And this one too?
Sure.
Yeah, all right, okay. I got to try to. Next light that we have is Mr. Wheeler.
I just got to say, first off, I talked to Ryan before, and this is the first time I saw this. And for those of you who, I am not a big hockey fan, but follow hockey, the Predators from Nashville had a saber-toothed tiger that I really liked, and they were yellow and white, and that whole city went nuts for it, so why not do something a little different, have a saber-toothed tiger? That's my only comments. In terms of color, yeah, here's a tiger, but the Predators used a saber-toothed tiger that people went nuts for. And I just wanted to throw that out there, because I know Mr. Booth said he could be swayed. So
No, absolutely.
There you go.
I
We
can be
swayed
swayed in this
away.
whole thing. I'm ready just to have a high school and say
I
yes.
like the saber-toothed tiger.
All
It'd
right,
be different.
We'll have something to say. Okay. Mr. Weishaupt, you've been waiting patiently.
Yes, sir. Light blue and silver.
Light blue and silver. Okay. Here's I'm going to chime in just quickly and then
Carolina.
give it back. The saber-tooth idea, that sounds great. I gotta say. I know that you're not gonna like it now that I love it, but we're talking about something that looks fearsome. You know what I mean?
Wait, don't get the logo
Big
for it.
tusk. You know, like the kind that came out in the Flintstones, but those are not too fearsome. But they're still cute.
If we have consensus, I mean, we can certainly work with Varsity Brands to make this tiger look as mean and as
Please, can we
as
stop
we want it
this
to be.
discussion?
But tigers, there's just too many. There's too ubiquitous. But saber-toothed tigers, you know what I mean?
I said it again
In
last
the heart of
time.
Jurassic
Here
Park,
you
you
go.
know. Okay, not that.
Thank you. Moving on. Let's go.
Okay.
That's just a fossil.
Here you go, here's
There you go. Look at that thing.
saber-toothed tiger.
This has been a fun discussion.
Okay, guys, I agree.
Happens on the inside is what counts.
But whatever's your pleasure. What do we have as far as colors? Because, guys, it seems that a lot of folks like the silver and blue.
That seems to be the consensus of the board.
Let me ask you something.
So you do?
If you look at this top one here, this is the blue and white.
That's the navy.
That's the navy. Can it be? Does navy and silver ever go together?
Really, what's?
Because it looks like it gets,
How about orange and silver?
Scarier.
We can look at anything, but navy and white would be the standard colors that you would
that's a
go.
very good combination, I think.
Right.
The fact that Lake Nona has it isn't consequential, but.
Well, it's
for
not
some
just so
folks-
much Lake Nona, also remember, navy blue is also at Point Siena.
But I mean, I see them in their basketball uniforms and they're red and white.
Yeah, I thought they were.
Well,
No, I've seen them, they're blue. I've
there's-
seen Lake Nona, they're blue.
Red is one of their primary colors as well, but it's red and navy at Point Siena. We were trying to do.
Louisiana's original colors were based on the patriotism, Eagles,
Yeah, I
red,
thought they
white,
were
and
red, white,
blue.
and blue. That's what
Yes.
I always.
Well,
Red, white, and blue.
Hashtag America.
Yes, sir.
Here's the Tigers, saber tooth tiger.
Oh, that looks fearsome. Okay, okay.
Let's pick the colors,
Let's pick the
please.
colors, all right. So it seems like the blue and, okay, let me not say that then.
No,
But
no.
if I just say this, okay. Orange and black. Board,
Orange and black.
I'm gonna take a roll call. And-
Am I picking one, or are we just saying we
No,
like
this,
it all right?
I think, aren't we supposed to choose from these four? Is that what I got this for?
We just provided options so you could look at them, so you could
No.
actually see what a
This one is
uniform
not
would look
part of
like with
this,
Toho on it.
But the navy and orange,
I like
the navy and orange, the blue, the silver,
It's the tiger.
and the light silver and blue, it's not on here, and the orange and black, so you kind of got this.
I
this,
will tell you that Cocoa High School are Tigers, and they are orange and black. Not that that matters, they're in a totally different county and not right next door to our new high school.
How does,
So-
how does it look?
I mean, it's sharp. I mean, the orange and black
Like
is.
that?
That's pretty hot.
Yeah, the third one down there you have is orange and black.
Does anybody have the light blue and silver that we know of,
There's nothing in Osceola County that has that,
or surrounding that we're aware of?
not that I'm aware of.
I haven't seen, that's the one combination I haven't seen.
None in Brevard.
I like this guy. I like
I don't.
those,
that tiger, too.
I like those colors. I like the saber tooth tiger colors.
Which color do you like?
I like the navy and orange, white, I like that.
Navy orange.
I like both. I
I've never seen
I
a
like
baby.
the light blue and silver,
I've
and I
never
like
seen
the
I've
the
never
orange.
seen a baby blue tiger.
All right, I'm gonna whittle one out of my three, and that's the orange and black. I'm gonna say that I'd
Okay.
be happy with light blue and silver or navy and orange.
Okay. This one. All right, Clarence, you're gonna have to
I'm
now.
not that strong, really.
Clarence, I need to chime in.
What, am I the
Because-
tiebreaker? You don't want me to be the tiebreaker?
Well, it's getting to that point, come on.
Saber tooth tiger.
Yeah, these are my,
Those are the two that seem to be the most
no, this is the
favorable.
We
navy.
have so far there's a tie in between two of them, but I'm keeping track.
I like the orange and the blue, I mean, but I can live with
Orange
it.
blue. All right, so,
And it's,
What you say what you want.
Orange and blue.
Orange and blue. Navy.
I would put orange
Navy
and
and
blue.
orange.
navy and orange, whatever, that's orange, I don't care.
It's orange and blue. It's orange and blue.
We have to say, if we do this, we have to say navy and orange for Mr. Weisshire. We cannot say orange and blue. There's no way. We can force him to do that.
so navy and silver was the one you were talking about?
He was saying light
I like
blue and
that. I mean,
silver.
I-
He said light blue and silver.
Oh,
Top
light
right
blue.
one.
Light blue.
Yeah, the
It's
one in
this
the top right.
Or
Yeah,
the
the
That
middle
is this
middle
one or
row.
this one? This
Yes,
is-
sir.
okay.
Yes, sir.
I like that one. That's the one, that is my
This is the
choice.
navy and
I
white.
just think it's really clean looking,
It is.
really fresh, bright.
There are,
I think it's
it's not
easier.
out there.
It's not out there.
There's a reason for that.
Probably easier to wash.
I'll be quiet.
Cam Newton disagrees.
So you pick. You're basically, it's down to you. You pick.
Moi?
Mhm.
Oh, man.
It's your moment to
It's your
shine,
moment,
Soto.
Mr.
Oh,
Chairman.
well, I'm gonna take this really red and white one. I'm just kidding. So, what's Jay?
He said orange and navy.
Well, board, look, it looks like we're looking for something that it's not everywhere. We don't want confusion with team colors. You don't want Lake Nona, which I think that takes care of one. So it's between this one, which is actually very elegant, blue and orange tiger, or the powder blue one with the silver.
Did you just receive some pertinent information?
Lake Nona does have silver in there.
That's what I
It's
thought.
navy, white, and silver.
Well, then that changes.
That's irrelevant.
Relevant?
It really is.
I think so. Board, what did you say about the light blue and silver? Jay, light blue and silver, how do you feel about it? Do you hate it?
orange.
How about this? Do you hate the light
Navy and
blue?
orange. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, navy and orange.
Or blue
What
and
do
orange.
you hate the light blue and silver?
No.
You don't hate it? I don't hate it. Do you hate the light blue and
I
silver?
don't hate it.
You don't hate
The
it?
navy and orange would be my first choice.
Okay, so we got
I'd like
two
to-
navy.
I'd like to eat
Do you hate the navy and the
You hate
navy?
the
You
navy
don't-
and orange?
I don't hate navy and orange.
Good.
Okay. Go.
Dr. Pace, what was your preference, Dr. Pace?
I don't have a preference.
You said you did. You said you did.
No, I do not.
What was Robert's
I'm very
color?
honest in saying.
Okay.
That's will break the tie.
Oh, we already went through this last time.
No, don't do, he's new here. Don't do that to me.
He's a Oregon State Beaver, so he'd run up here
So-
and pick orange and black.
So,
Because he probably already has a bunch of orange and
So-
black.
Got an orange lanyard.
all right, but here, but Mr. Booth, we have the orange and blue preference, clearly, 1 and 2. You said either one. If you had to choose one or the other, which one do you choose?
I want to see what your choice is, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
No, as chairman, I defer to you guys, man. That's my
Com-
preference.
No, I
more,
need your
analyze
choice on
less,
this one
Calvin.
because I really doesn't,
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine either way.
I'm not a big sports guy. That's the truth.
What do you think looks better? You like this? Or you like,
Well, it looks more like a tiger to you.
Well, this looks, I like this as the emblem, but I like this as the uniform.
You ever seen a you ever seen a
You
baby
see what I
blue-
mean?
You ever
This
seen a
is-
baby blue
This
tiger?
is- This is the best emblem-looking one.
But
But
we-
the uniform,
A
this is,
baby blue
this looks
tiger
like,
is just silly.
And remember, these tigers are just example tigers. We can work on the tigers in terms of color.
Saber tooth.
This was just an example, so you could see one. We will be branding the school over the next couple months after you
because
choose.
this is, okay, you guys are forcing me to tell you what I'm thinking.
yes.
Yes.
All right. So you have apparel for a school, okay? Kids are gonna wear this, right, students?
Yep.
You want something that they can wear maybe with different types of clothes, maybe to go to the movies, maybe to go hang out. What kind of color do you want it to look? You want something that's, the truth of the matter is that this color is easier to match up with fashion. Like, I hear this stuff from my daughter all the time. If I had to go ahead and think outside of sports, then I like the light blue one because it's easier to wear. But you're taking the opinion for someone who is not
You're just looking at Mr. Thacker's shirt.
high school sports is just
My mother
not.
told me everything goes with blue jeans.
So that's
Navy blue
Navy
jeans.
goes with everything.
Navy goes with everything, right?
not only that, but it's cooler in the summer, things like that. But that's why you don't want my analysis on this.
No, we
I am
don't.
not. I'm not a sports guy.
Ryan is,
So choose.
you,
We do have two.
You guys, let us know what
Orange
you
is a
want to do,
little
and we
harder
will
to
follow.
wear. And not only that, but you have orange already from
Orange is the new
UM.
black.
You have orange from
We
UF.
have blue from the University of North Carolina Tar Heels.
I don't see a lot of those guys walking around here in Osceola County.
Thank God.
No, you don't. Who has a baby
So
blue
says Wake
tiger?
Forest.
A baby blue tiger just
But you could have the
doesn't work.
tiger. The tiger could look like this. We're talking about the school uniform.
no, the tiger cannot look
No,
like
the
that.
tiger's the
It's
same
not
color
like
as the school color.
Why not?
That's
because
just,
then you're
that-
throwing
you
orange
say you're not a
on top
sports
of
guy.
it.
Tiger,
Don't we have Poinciana wearing all the colors of the rainbow, regardless of what their color is?
How about a compromise? How about the tiger is orange and light blue, and the colors are light blue and silver?
No.
you don't decorate, obviously.
I do not second that emotion.
No.
All right. So okay.
Same guy that said everything goes with Paisley.
That's right.
The board. I tell you what.
Plan.
It seems like
Roll call.
the bigger consensus is on the orange and blue.
Navy, aren't you
Navy, orange and navy. We got three right here.
Orange and navy looks like.
I'm finding it.
Attaboy.
I'm fine with it.
So am I. I'm good with it.
I'm not losing sleep over
I don't
this.
feel.
No,
I don't feel-
moving on. Come on.
It's the wrong choice, but I understand that you guys had to do what you needed to
Do we need
do.
to make a motion?
Well, the people who really are vested in this, which is not you or me, like the orange and navy.
Okay, I'll make a motion that the school's name is the Tahopakalaga High School Tigers, and the colors of the tiger and the uniforms are navy and orange.
So by Mr. Wheeler, any second?
Second.
Okay.
Second by Mr. Booth. Any more discussion? Last minute thoughts.
My discussion's on the day.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so now we have
Let's go.
discussion.
Well, yeah, I made the
And I'll get you the
Thank you, Mr.
PMS colors from Gainesville for the orange and blue to make sure we get those right.
I think we
Brian.
just, Navy is the motion. by the way.
Brian,
Right, navy, and I said navy and orange.
Well,
no gator colors.
I ran into somebody this week and I talked to Dr. Pace about it, about the Tohoto-Liga, which I'm perfectly fine with. My concern is the shortening and the play on words that other counties could make. And you can tell I've been here a long time, because to me, that TOHO's Toho, and it's short for water. But if you split that word in half and say it another way, there's a lot of room for,
Well, isn't Toho's also some kind of pastry that they used to sell? Like chocolate pastry?
That is not where Mr. Thacker's.
No, I was not going there.
I think Hostess
That was interesting
used to sell them.
analysis.
I'm just telling you, somebody, I saw a whole little video somebody had made making fun of that.
Well, we're just gonna squash them in the field. You know, they wanna make fun of our
I just
name.
wanted to bring it up so we don't, everybody's eyes wide open. Dr. Pace, what do you think? You're okay with that issue or with that?
I'm okay with it.
I think we've kind of talked through it and feel like, I mean, people are going to make fun of a name at some point in time, always.
That's an easy one.
But as you said, how many times do you say Toho Water Authority, and it's never crossed our minds?
Never, but I've seen it all,
So-
seen the word all my life.
That's pretty bad.
So, okay, if everybody,
Well, here's the thing, we really can't control that.
no,
We're
you
just gonna-
control it by not using the word. I mean, if it's a problem.
Or you could add the word lake. So Lake Toho, and that's harder to make an anagram or mess up with, you know?
Or they could be the Benjamin Franklin Tigers.
No, we're past that. If we add lake.
I'm okay.
If you,
Forget I said
parents,
it.
if we add lake and now it's Lake Toho.
I think it's a very good point. I can remember,
I know what I would be doing in ninth grade.
yeah, there was a derogatory term used for St. Cloud by all the Kissimmee folks, and they used a word instead of saint in front of the cloud, and you know what? It was just, that's what dumb people from Osceola High School do. But that, no, but
We digress.
nonetheless, I mean, I don't know if there's any name, you know, when you have these, I mean, what we did is we went out and beat them both times, my junior and senior year of football. I just want to make that clear. But nonetheless, I will say, I don't know if you
Long
can,
time after I was in school.
It's called an anomaly.
I don't know if there's any name that we can come up with that somebody can't shorten to make some kind of derogatory.
Okay.
I mean, kids are good at this stuff.
I would say this, I would seriously consider adding the word lake. That, I don't know.
I think that makes it too long.
I do too.
Makes it too long, but it does solve
And
that
if you're gonna
issue.
shorten, you're still gonna shorten it,
It'll be Lake Toho.
No, it would still just be
No,
Toho.
it'd just be Toho.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to make sure where all had our eyes, it's kind of like naming a kid and nobody looking at the initials of all.
Yeah.
Not what it was.
Arthur Stanley Smith, yeah.
It's a very good point.
All right.
Jane?
Mr.
Don't
Wheeler.
laugh at me.
Wheeler, let's see.
First off,
Let me have the last word.
Mr. Thacker, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention, but to Mr. Booth's point, I mean, I have coached a million different teams, been involved with a lot of different teams, sports, schools, et cetera, and it almost doesn't matter what you name a school, kids are going to find a way to make fun of it somehow, some way. Granted, to a certain degree, you're serving up a softball right here, I understand that, but, you know, again, no matter what you do, there's somebody who's going to do something. So I think Tohoto-Liga High School is a great name. I think the Tohoto-Liga Navy and Orange Tiger is going to look great, saber-toothed tiger. So I am totally good with this, but I do appreciate you bringing it up. Thank you.
For the record, I did not make a second to a motion that included a saber-toothed tiger. A regular tiger that we're, okay, as we move forward here.
All right.
Ryan, I just, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Mr. Adams, is there anything we're missing here?
Big deal.
I know we've had a fun discussion twice now, but is there anything, seriously, in all seriousness, that we're missing, color-wise, names, mascot-wise, or is everything on point? Does it?
I agree.
We just wanted to present those colors so
Y'all
you
need
could at
to
least
tell
change
us
it.
if there's been talk over the last 2 weeks that we're making, y'all need.
Yes.
I'm not aware of any talk. No one has
Okay.
contacted me to say anything negative about that.
I mean,
It's,
if we've missed something, you need to tell us.
the name, I assumed everyone was fine with. I didn't realize that we were coming back with different names, but it was the colors. We just wanted to make sure that you were aware that Navy was one of those colors that was a neighbor of ours, and and in the county. We just wanted to make sure that you knew that.
And we're still navy and white, but we're just adding
Navy and
orange.
orange, that's-
So I think that's,
That orange is going to be, well, they'll both be primary, but it'll be good. We just want to make sure that we had movement going forward.
principal, any comments, concerns on anything?
Would you like to come
you've
up
heard
and
tonight?
join me up here with this? Because
Don't fall for it.
Good answer.
Don't fall for it. Okay.
We're good.
Zip.
Chairman, before we vote, just to be clear.
Yes, sir.
We're voting on light blue and silver, right?
Come on, man.
No, we're good. Let's do it. Come on.
You're gonna be mute, there's gonna be a mutiny here.
Tim, I know you're gonna lose sleep over this. Said you weren't, but I know you.
Okay.
Aye.
All right, so vote. Okay, guys, we're done with discussion, so we're gonna take this vote.
Yes, sir.
All right. All those in favor that the new school, currently named FFF, will be named Tohopekalaga High School with the Tigers,
Yeah.
orange and navy colors, school colors. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Vote passes 5-0. And I'm glad that we don't have to do this again for a long
Yes.
time.
I think they're building a new high school. No, I'm just.
Fair enough.
Orange County's been watching us, and they say, we'd like you to come help us name one of them.
I'm sure we'll be getting that call.
Oh, I'm never gonna get involved with something like this again. You guys are just gonna have to vote, and I'll say everything is good.
Mr. Chairman, under,
I'll second
under
that.
Roman numeral 11, item D, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Item D, motion to approve by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Weissier. Board, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, vote passes 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, under Roman numeral 12, item E, I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
Item E, Mr. Wheeler makes a motion to approve, second by Mr. Booth.
Wherever, doesn't matter.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Vote passes 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion under facilities to approve items F through L.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Booth to approve F through L, second by Mr. Wheeler. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Chairman, I
Hearing
make a
none,
motion
vote passes.
to
Motion
approve
to,
item M.
motion to approve item M by Mr. Thacker,
Second.
second by Mr. Weissier. Board, any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Mr. Chairman, I'll
Opposed?
make a motion under
Vote passes 5-0.
superintendent's sorry, sir. Under superintendent's recommendation, I'll make a motion to approve letter N.
Second.
All right, motion to approve N by Mr. Weissier, second by Mr. Wheeler. Board, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Hearing none, opposed, hearing none, vote passes 5-0. Brings us to attorney.
Yes, three things. First, superintendent's evaluation is a consistent 5s and 4s with the board. On the next agenda, there'll be a recommendation to implement the terms of the contract that she has earned pursuant to her evaluations, and to give her what the contract provides for. Let me just say for the record, it's an excellent written contract. I went through it, it really was well thought out, so we'll be bringing that back in a very simple form to authorize the implementation of
And I appreciate the work you've done on that, Mr. Cookpacker. All right, Mr. Wheeler, go ahead.
I'll just be brief. First off, thank you, Mr. Kruppenbacher. I just want to say, I gave Dr. Pace an exceptionally good review. I think you've been doing a very good job, and I just want to let you know it was an easy review to give, and just keep up the good work.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Booth.
Mr. Kruppenbacher, as you may have known, when Dr. Pace was hired, because of our relationship, I was advised then by Mr. Usher Brown not to vote, and then not to vote again under the advice of counsel on the contract. So if you could contact me sometime or maybe do some research.
Give you that same guidance. I know you'd vote for it, but I would give you the same guidance.
You would give me the same guidance on this evaluation and bonus program to fill out, to avoid voting. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Weissier.
Thank you, Chairman. Dr. Pace, I just wanted to say thank you for your work over the last year, but really year and a half. But in the context of this evaluation, it was my honor to spend the time with you and to talk about the things that you've achieved for this district. And as I shared with you, and I think it's important that everybody know, couldn't be happier with the superintendent that we have, the work you're doing, and the leadership you're providing. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Okay, Mr.
well,
Wheeler.
and Mr. Weiss, I appreciate your comments, but Dr. Pace, while I could always be happier.
I recognize that, Jim.
Come on.
And my relationship with Dr. Pace doesn't mean that I can't tell her how great of a job that I believe she's doing well.
Second item is at the next meeting on August 15th, we will need a session during the 5:30 meeting. It will be involving 3 separate cases. Carolyn Riznikowitz in case number 2015 CA versus the school board. Sandra Perez is the next case versus the school board 2016 CA 2703. And Dean Brooks versus the school board 2015 CA 576. The school board will be in attendance, as will be legal counsel handling the case, and the court reporter. They'll all be transcribed when the case is finally concluded. That will be on file with the clerk, should anybody want to look. Now to the lawsuit that people are talking about. As of today, Broward started this. St. Lucie, Lee, Volusia, and Bay have decided to join in a lawsuit. Miami-Dade will be voting on August 9th. The date automatically following this. 14 are considering. The issues that are being talked about to be raised are that the bill to be challenged violates Article 9, 4B, as it relates to the schools of hope. As it relates to the schools of hope, violation of Article 3, Section 6, which I think actually presents potentially the strongest argument, and that is the constitutional requirement that there be a single subject, as they put a lot of stuff in this particular bill. Article 7, Section 10, a violation that as it relates to the Constitution's prohibition against using the taxing power for any private purpose or being in partnership with or in any kind of business relationship with a private entity. Same violation, Article 7, as it relates to mandating any sort of sharing of taxation, and a violation of Article 9 as it relates to the standard charter contract and granting sovereign immunity, and can that be done in this case? Now, those are some being talked about. As of right now, I plan on reporting back to you on the 15th with a final recommendation to you, and I want to speak with you. I'd ask tonight for you to just receive the information. I call each of you individually, because with anything of this nature, I will tell you that there are political ramifications, and I want you to hear what I've learned in doing my research on this particular topic. There is, I was told today, well, a lot of these districts all want to come together on the theory that it'll prevent retaliation from the Department of Education. I don't really see the Department of Education retaliating, and I'll talk to you more about that whole issue later. But right now, I can't identify to you who would be the firm that would be leading it. I'm not sure I'd want. There are a multitude of issues, and this attack actually pulls down the entire. If you actually prevailed on some of this, you pull down the entire law. You don't get to pick out and say, I mean, the whole thing goes by the wayside. That said, let's assume that happened. The good news is some of the good things in this for us are not the controversial issues. So arguably, the legislature can fix that and would. It is clear there's not a political appetite on the legislature to do some of the things that are in that bill now. I don't believe it would come through the Senate again, particularly the sharing of dollars and some of the other controversial components. Let's assume, just as you're thinking about this, we don't join, the lawsuit prevails, we're going to benefit from whatever happens in the lawsuit one way or the other, okay? And I want you to think about all that. I'll talk to you all individually about it, and when I talk with you, you'll understand why I want to talk to you individually. I won't be telling any of you what the others have said. But I've been following this closely. There's a lot of hands or cooks in the kitchen, and I'm very careful about writing big checks to lawyers before anything gets moving. So I want to do some more due diligence. Dr. Pace called me last week. The chairman called me and said, would you look at this so we're on top of it? I've been looking at it, so I was ready. But I'll talk to you more individually.
Thank you, Mr. Kuchenbacher. Mr. Weeder, you have
I got one simple question. What court is going to hear this? A civil court, a county court? I mean, who gets who's the first judge that sees it? What's that level?
When you file against the state of Florida, you have to file in Leon County and Circuit Court unless you have a federal claim, all right?
It's Leon County Circuit.
Yeah, I think, first, unless you had some incredible federal claim, I don't see any federal judge wanting to hear this stuff, and they do everything. I clerked for a federal, they do everything to kick it back. It'll be in Leon County. Now, in Leon County, those judges have stood up before to the legislature, and sometimes they've agreed with the legislature. So I don't think you can say there's a view one way or the other what will come out of that court.
Do we know who the judge is?
No.
Okay.
As of right now, I don't.
I don't even, has it been filed?
I have not seen a filed lawsuit.
Okay.
They've been trying to collect boards, et cetera. You know, there are big boards with, I'm going to tell you this, because I've been there. When a big urban school district says to you they don't have money, I'm going to tell you right now, don't buy that. They have money.
This is no appetite.
They have a lot of money. Right. That's where we're at. Mr. Weishire?
Mr. Weishire?
Yeah, will you just schedule a time for you and I to get together with my office so that we can get everything
You want me to call your
coordinated?
office?
Yes, please.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Was that it?
Yes, that's it for me.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. I'm just going to add a few words. This is definitely something that affects the business that we are, which is public education. And just for that purpose, it deserves its attention and it deserves to be looked at and discussed. You know, once we have more information and we could get, you know, Frank to explain a little bit more about how this is going down, and then at that point is when, you know, the board can decide whether or not to join a lawsuit. For me, I just think that we at least need to, you know, not be scared to talk about it. And so that's why I brought it, okay? In case any one of you were wondering, I'm not afraid to talk about it. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Next thing, Superintendent Pace, OLE legislative priority.
I don't know that tonight is the appropriate time to really have a discussion about what our OLE priorities should be, but I did want you to know that the OLE team is starting to get together the board to try to give our lobbyists some potential direction in terms of what would be our shared priorities. We do have our legislative workshop as an entity scheduled for September the 19th. Doug Bruce, Mike Horner, and our folks from former Mixon Associates, now Rutledge Usinia, will be here, Jessica and Jim and the team, to talk with you, give you a little update, and more importantly, to listen to you about what your concerns are. I know there's been some discussion at the last board meeting about the district cost differential. Tonight, there's been some discussion about whether or not growth should pay for itself, or the difference between the required local effort as a rollback rate or not. Obviously, high growth is always still out there. I would like to suggest, too, that perhaps when it gets ready to start about our own legislative priorities, that we think about some of the educational factors. Like last year, we talked a little bit about testing. There are some teacher certification areas that I'd like to make board members aware of that potentially we could gather some momentum with the Central Florida Coalition to lobby about, but just kind of wanted to make sure that was on your radar so that you could start to give me direction in terms of what to take back to the Olay group, and then eventually what we will form as our legislative priorities for the coming year.
Thank you, Dr. Pace. Next, we have unfinished business by Mr.
I
Wheeler.
got to count the whole way.
Oh, comment on Olay, okay.
Going under the premise that Olay's top priority, at least going into this next legislative session relative to getting any dollars for the greater community, will be the bridge project. So going under that premise, I guess I want, what I'm looking for is if we do something where we're trying to get some dollars, and I'm not, how successful do we think we're going to be? Because I want to fight. I don't want to fight losing battles. I'm not suggesting that we don't want certain things, but you got to be realistic relative to what you're trying to get. I think testing is great. The district cost differential, obviously, is something that would greatly help us out, and I appreciate Melody Johnson coming here from the Volusia County School Board last time, but I don't know the best way to skin that cat necessarily, and I'd like to hear from maybe our lobbyists when they come. That's me personally, because if it's a battle we can win, then by all means, let's go win it. If not, let's pick some other things we can win. Testing obviously is huge, and I get that.
I'll make sure that Mr. Hamilton is prepared to address any questions about the district cost differential.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Weissier.
Thank you, Chairman. Have you talked to any, Doug Bruce or Mr. Horner, or anybody about the start of committee week being in September and the date that we've selected and any impact that they might have?
They all indicated that they were available. They've confirmed their attendance.
Okay. And then probably even the more important part of that is, yes, session is early and it doesn't start until January, but, and for what it's worth, really, I'm looking at you, but I'm really talking to everybody here, is us looking at everything in the middle of September sounds like we're ahead of the game, but we're actually pretty far behind at that point. So that would just be my concern, is that when you really think about how all of this rolls out, if we meet in September, we have a workshop, you're talking about not getting back together until October at the earliest to vote and ratify anything as a body. And then you're looking at November, December, and all that happens with that, and the start of session being the second week of January. I would just be concerned, just for what it's worth.
We just have had such a hard time coordinating with the five of you this month and this time around. Like, for example, for our budget hearing on the 5th, a couple of folks will not be in town. So that's been our challenge. If somebody has a better date, we'll certainly work with our folks to get them here. That's been the challenge.
Jay can't leave the country.
Yeah, he's past the finest.
I mean, I'd certainly be, could make myself available in August if we needed to, later. But
We currently have a facilities workshop scheduled on the 15th at 4. Would you prefer to move our early meeting in September? It was scheduled to start at 1, but remember that September the 19th, we also do have the impact fee study report that's coming back.
But we're doing the impact fee,
I thought we were going to meet with them before.
August
the
8th.
report.
August the 8th. We meet with them on August the 8th at 9.
You wouldn't want to do a possible legislative workshop or see if they're available on that second August meeting, is it 15th?
What about August 8th? After the,
August 8th.
Or August 8th after
That's
the
how I was
impact
thinking,
fee?
Clarence. Short notice for them.
I will certainly do my best if we can move it up to August the 8th and have Tanya get in touch with you guys, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's.
We would just
yeah.
make it
August
longer.
8th or August 15th would work.
I can make either of those work.
I can't do the 15th, but I can do the 8th.
We can make
There it
either
is.
happen. That's good.
Make it the 8th.
Okay.
Let us know, please.
What time are you guys talking about?
We don't know yet.
We're talking about in the morning, right?
Well, yeah, we're doing the other workshop.
The impact fee study is scheduled to start at 9.
9.
I figured we would need to allow at least 2 hours for that.
I had that scheduled 9 to 1.
You can't do it on the 8th?
What about that?
No?
if it doesn't work for you, Kevin, that's fine. We've all got conflict.
Yep.
It's just that there's some things that I can move, and I always try to do that. This is.
Yeah, no.
I,
But if there's a conflict, we respect that, so
We've
just,
all had, I mean, we've moved around for all of our conflicts.
What if we were able to possibly push back Tyndall Oliver and make that deal start at 7 or 7:30?
early is
Would that
always
help?
good, man.
And take a couple hours ahead and and look at the legislative stuff
Remember,
earlier?
you've got several of our lobbyists who are coming from Tallahassee. So a 7 o'clock meeting for them, it's certainly doable for me.
They can come the night before, we're paying them enough.
Yeah, they're coming the night.
I mean, if they come, if we meet with them at 10, they're gonna probably have to come the night before.
Yeah, I doubt they're leaving Tallahassee
Actually,
at 6.
Jim and Jessica don't, but we,
They don't.
okay,
All
so
right.
would you rather have, no, let's,
Yeah, ask 'em
would
what
that
the-
work for you, Calvin, if we started at 7 a.m. and we did 7 to 9 for legislative and 9 to 11 for impact fee?
Absolutely. The only thing is that I'm just looking at it and I have something that I have to do at 10, but I could partner to do it. Be his first time, but you know what? That'd be a first time for everything.
Okay,
We're
so
doing
we're
navy and
going to work
orange
very
first.
hard to
We're
get
doing
everybody
navy and
here
orange.
on August the 8th at 7 a.m. Obviously, we'll have some light breakfast snacks.
Sipping it
Thank you,
donuts.
Superintendent.
Tanya.
I think we're set.
Espresso.
So, we could get the calendar invites then for 7:30 in the morning,
I will need to confirm with the lobbyists.
once that is done. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
All right, all right.
I would just like to thank the board. I'm not used to the 7 a.m. school board meetings, but as long as you don't pull the Orange County 2 in the morning meetings.
We haven't been that late yet, I don't think.
No,
Had an
you,
executive session, maybe go to like 11.
I've had some other board members who
11.
wanted to go to 1 in the morning.
The worst.
Okay, let's see. Oh, look at this. The lights are all off, but we have unfinished. No, no,
No?
no,
Oh,
no,
no,
no.
no, you're not getting,
We
it's not
have, we
that
have
easy.
unfinished business by Mr.
Put that
Weaver
folder down.
regarding
Board,
custody and things.
We have had some challenges recently relative to the Department of Education and some construction. We had them out here, I guess, yesterday and today. And Dr. Pace knew this in advance, so I'd like an update on where we are with our custody reports for Denjon Middle School and Michigan Avenue Elementary School, please.
Good evening, Board. So as Mr. Wheeler stated, that we spent the last 2 days with DOE staff to review our custody reports that were submitted back on March 23rd. We've been working with DOE since. We've provided a number of supplemental information items, conference calls, phone calls, emails to push those custody approvals along. With a letter that was sent to Commissioner Stewart from Dr. Pace, initiated DOE coming here for the last 2 days. And first, I'll start by saying that the DOE staff that was present, Mr. Mark Weigley, who's the director level, and Miss Violet Brown, managerial level with the Department of Education facilities, was great to work with
Excuse
the
me,
last
Mr.
2
Clinch,
days.
are either of them professional engineers or registered architects?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mark Wiley is an architect.
Okay, thank you.
But he is new to DOE. He's been there for about a month and a half. He's coming from the Department of Transportation. So
Okay.
there's a couple of things that are going on. One, it's new staff that's involved in the custody review and approval process, which is really a moot point because the DOE wishes to change that process. They don't know what those new procedures will look like, nor do they have a timeline for that. We made it very clear our dire need to have those approvals for Michigan Ave, Denjon, and St. Cloud. So that was made very clear. So the last 2 days was very positive. I think the DOE staff was very straight up with us and giving us suggestions how we can get those approvals to come to fruition. Based on the indications that they provided in our outbrief today, they indicated that we should be able to make the case for Michigan Ave Elementary School. They generally agree with the report and the findings. 46 years old. They should be able to make the case for St. Cloud Middle School, which shares the same site as Michigan Ave. With additional information provided, they indicated that what will really help to make the case is the cost savings that will be generated from the shared kitchen cafeteria facility, operational savings, and first costs with design and construction. So we will gather that and get that to them this week. The Denjon Middle School looks a little bit more bleak. Based on recent renovations that were completed at Denjon, where the locker room was moved to the gym building, and that space was converted into an ESE suite, will make it difficult for them to approve Denjon. However, we pointed out all the other deficiencies, that the age of the and condition of the building, the educational inadequacies, and the system inadequacies. The HVAC system is in very poor condition, that the systems, that the infrastructure does not keep pace with the IT and educational infrastructure needs that we have today. There are other issues with power, with plumbing systems. The power is very outdated. The panels, for example, would all have to be replaced. The current panels do not meet today's code, nor would we be able to get the replacement parts if we were to do a modification to those panels. That wouldn't be allowed. So they might be able to make the case for Denjon if we're able to provide a return on investment model showing that the replacement of systems for, say, another 5 to 7 years, because today the building is 43 years old. So the 7 would get us to the full 50 years. To continue those systems, the cost for the upgrade of those systems would be cost prohibitive. So we will put that model together and get that to the Department of Education soonest. The decision makers are out of the office next week, and there's a chain of command that will follow for the decision making. Mr. Mark Weidley, the director that was present today, will make the case for us based on information that we provide. And again, he provided all this input to us so he can make a good, compelling case for us. But it will start with Mickey Presley, the Assistant Deputy Commissioner. Then it will go to Linda Champion, the Deputy Commissioner. And then finally to Pam Stewart, the Commissioner, as this issue was previously raised to her attention. So staff feels that it ultimately needs to go to her for the final decision. They expect to have decisions in 2 weeks.
Mr. Chairman. Yes. Discussion by Mr. Thacker. You have the floor.
Mark, so are we supposed to interpret this from the DOE now? We just let our buildings completely crumble as opposed to fixing them for our students because they're not going to let us, once we repair them, we can't replace them?
Their mantra seems to be to upgrade systems and building envelopes to get the full 50 years.
Do they understand that our taxpayers have voted to replace these, and it's the desire of the citizens of this county?
Yes, sir. We made that very clear, that these renovations are being funded by locally generated funds approved by the voters of this county.
Mr. Thacker, not to say the obvious, but DOE knows better what's good for us than what we know for ourselves.
I understand that.
And
Thank God we have that bureaucracy where 14 levels of people can approve
I have
what we're going to
asked
do in us.
a local legislator if he would schedule hearings this coming session on legislation regarding Castaldi, because you are seeing districts, they were ready to move in March. Think of the cost. March, April, May, June, July, August.
Look at the
They're sitting on-
escalation in cost it's costing our taxpayers right now.
That's the point, and this is an
Talk about
example.
responsible, they're totally irresponsible.
So, the issue's not going to go away for us. We'll hurdle this one because we've come from the top down and the bottom up to deal with it. But knowing we're going to face it, I think we need to just face it head on. And Dr. Pace said today, Frank, we got to deal with it. It's just going to continue to hurt a district like this that's stretching its dollars. So I'll keep you posted on the front that I'm working on.
Sarah, I'd just like confirmation that all the money, what percentage of the money spent on these renovations that are being held up by the Department of Education are local are locally generated? What percentage?
100%.
100%, thank you.
But they're going to come in is when they were originally built, you may have used tax dollars that weren't locally generated, and we have to guard that, even though you're the elected officials for the community.
I understand. I just wanted to make sure that the 100% of the dollars for these renovations is all locally generated.
Mr. Wheeler?
First off, Mr. Clinch, I appreciate the update, and Dr. Pace, I applaud you and staff for working with the Department of Education. Obviously, we're frustrated, I understand that, and we want to, and I also understand, I've been with the Department of Education a long time. I also understand that we want to be in compliance with as much as we can, but at the end of the day, nobody who came out here today was elected by the voters of Osceola County. Nobody who came out here today is generating any of that revenue that's going to fund these schools either, which is not to suggest that these people don't have a job to do, and I appreciate that. Our mission is to educate our kids. Relative to the mission, our mission with these schools is to meet a schedule. The compliance issues, I understand, have a place, but when the compliance issues become an impediment to us doing our job, either the compliance issues are wrong or the people implementing them are wrong, or maybe both. But whatever, what I would suggest relative to this is obviously move forward with the state agency as best as we can. But when it becomes time sensitive, where what they're doing will impede what we've got to do and we've got a schedule to meet, I can't speak for the whole board, but I think we need to take a vote eventually about this, maybe at the next board meeting. We need to do what's right for us, and if the state has a problem with it, they need to come and explain to us who voted for them in Osceola County to be in that position, which is not, again, to suggest they don't have a job to do. They don't live here, they weren't elected here, and we've got 64,000 kids who are going to show up in August. We've got a schedule to meet. We're doing what's in their best interest. This is an equity issue for our children. And relative to what they're doing, again, when it becomes an impediment to what we've got to do, then I think we've got to make a decision outside the boundaries that we may usually want to. That's where I'll go. So the question I've got for you, Mr. Clinch, when's our drop dead date? We got to know from them one way or the other.
Based on the current bidding schedule for Michigan Ave Elementary School, and that's the first project that we bring into construction, the first of the year, the bidding will occur during the month of October, mid-October. So I would say drop dead would be no later than the end of September.
Well, I'd say by September 19th board meeting board, I don't think we can wait till the end of September. I think we need to, Dr. Pace, I guess we need to have discussions with you by then. And I think in fairness, we need to let the Department of Education know that we're patient. They can take all the time they want as long as they give us a decision September 19th, because I'd like this board to make a decision if they can't.
Mr. Thacker.
Just two quick questions, and this may be for you, Mark. And I don't want an answer now, maybe at the next board meeting. If somebody could look at the last couple studies they approved for other districts, when they were, and if I'm assuming it's all public, what they look like in comparison to ours is one. And Mr. Kruppenbacher, if you could, again, I don't want an answer tonight, at the next meeting, if you could tell us what would happen if we chose to ignore this.
Can I just clarify that all the custodies are being held up at this time? This is a statewide issue. It is not just our school district.
I'm looking at first of all, I'd like to know where they got the authority to hold them all up. Secondly, I'm curious when the last ones were approved and what they look like. And I'd like, if they've changed the rules, is there any responsibility to notify districts, or they just do whatever they want?
Mr. Thacker, may I suggest, Mark, I'll check on the prior approvals, because any talking to them about that, they're going to perceive, he's got to look like the good guy trying to work it all. I'll wear the dark hat, but I'll get that information for us.
Dark hat, dark cape.
All right, Mr. Wheeler.
Clarence, relative to your point, I think that one of the salient issues relative to the previous custodies that have been approved weren't approved by these people in position right now. And Mr. Clinch, to your credit, you said these people are looking to create a process. They don't know what the process will look like. They don't know when they're going to have it, which is
costing us a ton of money in delays.
It's become an impediment to our mission. So relative to that, again, I appreciate what they're trying to do. But what they're trying to do is basically hurting Osceola County Schools right now. Relative to other districts, I can't speak for them. I wasn't elected by them, but where we are right now, by September 19th, I think this board's got to take action one way or the other.
Mr. Booth?
I'd like to say also, I'd like to see Mr. Krumbacher come back with what happens if we just ignore this and continue on the schedule that we've set forward, and board, talking about a lawsuit, maybe this is the fight that Osceola County fights. Maybe it's not the, look, we're going to hold up construction of 100% local funds, yet we're going to give away local capital funds with zero accountability to buildings that the public will not own after they're built. So we're okay with that. We're going to tell local governments what their recess plan has to be. These are the kind of things, maybe this is the fight that we need to fight, and telling folks that, hey, local control, this is the best form of government that we have. We're the folks that know best for Osceola County, okay, not Tallahassee and not Washington, D.C. And so maybe this is the fight, board,
I wouldn't
that
go
we need
into
to fight.
choosing harms. Harm is, every harm to what we do as the public school district should be addressed. Mr. Wheeler?
I would just like to suggest that maybe we give the authority to our school board attorney to contact the governor's office, see if he can make some headway with the governor's office on our behalf for this. I think this board, we got nothing to lose by that, and I think we should give them that authority. I can't speak for the rest of the board, but I'm in favor of doing that.
Sig.
I'd like you to officially ask me to do that.
You would like to officially ask him to?
I would like to.
Do we need a motion?
Consensus, you have a positive head nod here.
Do you all agree that I should approach the governor's office regarding this topic?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's all I've got, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
All right. Nothing on the new business. Board member comments. Just quickly, I really like our school name. I love the colors. I love the tiger. It was a privilege to be a part of it. I just can't wait. I just can't wait to see it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Yes. And you know what? It's a pleasure working with you guys, really. It's when we discuss things and everything, no matter the decision, it's one that feels good and it feels right. With that said, does anybody have any final parting comments? Because I'm done.
No, Benjamin Franklin will be very proud of this.
Maybe another.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Signified by getting up and leaving.
But maybe we don't need a lawsuit at all, now that we've gotten talked about it.
I see it.